What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another late night in the Brew-Lab with me, Lone Fox, your brew master in chief. And tonight in the Brew-Lab, I'm coming at you with some more spoiler content. We've basically just grouped together 2 days in one. The weekend is always a bit slow. Let's see if a refresh will give us anything new. Doesn't look like it. So yeah, only about 5 cards in total spoiled yesterday, and looking like about 10 spoiled today. So not too much to get through, but let's jump right into it. Some pretty sweet stuff. Some pretty sweet stuff from what I've seen so far. So first up, we've got Naomi, the Pillar of Order, 5 mana. Signpost uncommon, legendary creature, human advisor, 4/4. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, if you control an artifact and an enchantment, create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance. I don't know about that, man. That's a lot of very complicated things to happen before you start to get any proper value, and it's happening at a really weird point in the game. I guess in draft this can be pretty bomb, but I don't know if I would play it in a standard deck yet. Like, we haven't seen any pieces that would make me think that that's worthwhile, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. But next up, we've got a great one. This is definitely going to see play, and of these artifact creature equipment things, probably the best one that we've had so far. First of all, quick a little aside before I read the card. I was having this thought today while I was out and about walking. When one of these things is a creature, that means that you can now equip things on it. If you then reconfigure it to be equipped to a creature, does it bring with it all of the equipments that you'd equipped to it when it was a creature, or does it not? Rules question. I would really love to know that. And just as I was pondering that, Wizards released a new card, which I will get to in a second, which kind of solves the problem in a way. They've already attempted something similar to this with the runes in Kaldheim, I believe it was, where you could put a rune on an equipment, and then the enchantment rune would stay on the equipment. My thinking is, would this kind of work in a similar way, or would it, because it's now changed from a creature to a equipment itself, that it loses all of the things that were equipped to it? But we'll have to see, because that's a very crucial point in whether this reconfigure mechanic becomes like really, really strong or not. But anyway, back to Lion Sash. Sorry for the long aside. 2 mana 1/1. It's a bit problematic because of, Spike Field Hazard and play with fire, but you can straight away grow it pretty quickly. Like, even if the opponent is just like, put a Deadly Dispute and a Shambling Gas in the graveyard, by turn 2 you can play this guy out, or turn 3 and pay 1 white, and you exile a target card from a graveyard, and as long as it's a permanent, you can put a +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash. So great little graveyard hate card there for, like, those Blood on the Snow decks. You just get rid of their planeswalkers from the graveyard, that sort of thing, and it can grow pretty quickly. It reminds me of Ooze, the Scavenging Ooze. But the cool thing is, once it's grown up, you can then pay a very cheap equip cost, reconfigure cost, and equip it. And then the equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash. So I think if this equipment thing deck kind of pops off, this is definitely going to be one of the good cards in it. And I would definitely keep my eye on Lion Sash. Next up, we've got an uncommon called Banishing Slash. Destroy up to 1 target artifact, enchantment, or tap creature. Then, if you control an artifact and an enchantment, so this is going to be a thing. I've seen it already on a few cards. You create a 2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance. Okay, so it looks like something that might kind of want to be synergizing with this guy. These samurai tokens with vigilance. Pooping out all over the place. I'm so excited to see if that deck's good as well. It sounds fun. But sorcery speed, you gotta again have the artifact and the enchantment, but a lot of these creatures are gonna be enchantment creatures and the artifact creatures, so it shouldn't be too difficult. And then you just get to pay 2 mana and destroy target artifact, enchantment, or tapped creature. That's really not too bad at all. That's not too bad at all. And I think in a format where there's going to be a lot of artifacts and enchantments, and you know, tapped creatures are always going to be there. That's a tidy little investment that is also probably going to make you a samurai. I think this card is better than I initially thought. Keep your eyes on Banishing Slash. Next up, we got the Bamboo Grove Archer. Defender, reach, and has channel 5. 4 colorless and a green. Discard Bamboo Grove Archer, destroy target creature with flying. Okay, so kind of like a, what's it called? Crippled Wings or something like that. But it's a little bit, that's a typical thing with I'm seeing with this channel. It's like slightly more expensive than the same card on an instant would cost. But you know, you get a, otherwise you just get a 3/3 with reach and defender for 2 mana. Man, that's probably pretty good in limited. I don't think you'll see any play whatsoever in standard. Then we've got Tempered in Solitude. 2 mana enchantment. Now there's starting to be like a lot of this happening in red, like where you exile the top cards of your library. Like I can imagine a deck where you fully like max out on that effect. And you just have like endless options of things to cast. You'd be milling yourself pretty quickly. But as long as you have like lots of cheap cantrips and sort of the mana to cast the stuff and then things that synergize with it, I know it's a lot to ask, but there's already a pretty sweet little burn deck that's coalescing. This might be a really good, you know, piece in that brew. Like turn 1, play your Delver. Turn 2, play Tempered in Solitude. Flip your Delver, attack. Whenever you attack, you exile the top card of your library. You may play that card. Oh, it's only this turn. Okay. A little bit worse than I thought. I was hoping it would be like that new Reckless Impulse, I think it's called. Where like you can play it in the next turn, and we got something like that already down here. There's a red card as well. Okay, I don't want to get too lost in searching, but it's not the first card in the set that does that. I think it was this one, actually. I just went past it because, yeah, as an additional cost to cast a spell, you may exile any number of red cards from your hand. The spell costs 2 less to exile the tops for except until your next turn. Interesting. Anyway, on to the next one. Where were we? Tempered in Solitude. Then we've got Armguard Familiar. Another one of these artifact creature equipment beast. 2 mana, 2/1 with Ward 2. The creature gets +2/+1 and has Ward 2. Reconfigure cost of 4 is quite steep. But I can see playing this out on turn 3, holding up a Fading Hope or something. It's hard to remove because of the ward. Turn 4, you pay the reconfigure and put it on something that you played on turn 2. I don't know. Probably quite rubbish, but not bad being able to give things ward. I can imagine that getting like almost insurmountable. You could like stack these on top of your Immerstrum Predator. I beg your pardon. What's his name? The blue dragon. Imrith, the Desert Doom. It already got Ward 3. Then you just put Ward 2, and then you put another one. Like just basically makes it completely uncounterable. You know, untargetable unless you have sweepers, of course. Nashi, Moon Sage Scion, another rat ninja. Wow, a rat's gonna be a thing. I like me some tribal stuff. This one I actually peeked at earlier today. It looks a little bit weird, but it's a 3 mana, 3/2, 1 colorless, 2 black. It's got ninjutsu, which costs more than the card. It's 4 mana, 3 colorless, and a black. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you exile the top card of each player's library. And until end of turn, you may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. So you've already paid 4 to ninjutsu it in. This thing's mythic, okay? You've already, like, because you want this to happen, you know, otherwise the opponent's just going to block it and it's a 3-2. So you've got to do the ninjutsu thing with an unblocked ninja, flash it in, or, you know, ninjutsu it in. You get in for the damage, and then you look at the top cards of both yours and the opponent's library, and then you still need to have the mana to cast it if it's something useful. And then if you do, you pay life equal to the cost of the spell. So, like, even if you do this on turn 6, you're only going to be able to pay for a 2-mana spell. I don't know. It's surprisingly mythic, but maybe I'm just not seeing something. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Next up, we got Moon Circuit Hacker. Epic art on these neon. What are they calling them? Anyway, these frames are just wow. 2-1 for 2. 1 colorless and a blue with ninjutsu. Cheap ninjutsu. 1 blue mana. Notably cannot be reduced in cost by the cards that reduce the colorless casting cost of ninjutsu, because it doesn't have any colorless, so probably done on purpose. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So that would just happen normally. But if you've just ninjutsu'd it in, if it's just entered the battlefield this turn, then you don't need to discard. So that's actually pretty cool. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see whether there's better things to be doing on turn 2 in the ninja deck, like maybe in some like free-to-play budget build or something where you're trying to go ninjutsus. But I have a feeling that there's probably going to be a better like rare or uncommon one that does something more essential. And case in point, the Dimir little rat guy here is probably your 2-drop of choice. But yeah, let's see. Pretty sweet that draws cards, and then you can just, you know, keep, you know, bouncing, getting it back to your hand when it isn't blocked, and you flip it for another guy and ninjutsu it in. But oh man, it's gonna be so fun. Like, it's really pushing a lot more focus on what happens during combat. You're gonna be wanting to block like pretty much everything that goes unblocked. You're like gonna be dreading some ninjutsu thing happening. It's going to be really different, and I can't wait for the to kind of change up in the play styles. Next up, we've got Awakened Awareness. X and 2 blue, enchant, artifact, or creature. So this is the card that I was saying, where it's going back to my point before with Lion Sash and equipping equipments onto an equipment. This aura can enchant artifacts. So this, you could enchant your equipment, and it would move, I'm assuming, with the equipment when you reconfigure it onto a creature. And so sweet that this does that. Cool. The runes do too. So now, I mean, I'm already thinking of like this crazy deck with like runes, auras that enchant your artifacts, and crazy equipment synergies. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. And it's in blue, and it's not like directly linked to warriors, as you know, equipments deck have been in the past. So I'm really excited to see how this ends up shaking out with that, especially the, you know, if anybody does know the ruling about what I mentioned earlier, please let me know in the comments. But anyway, back to Awakened Awareness. Enchant artifact or creature. When Awakened Awareness enters the battlefield, you put X +1/+1 counters on enchanted creature, on enchanted permanent, and as long as that permanent is a creature, it has base power and toughness 1. So that's a bit crap, because if you put it on a 4/4, it just like reduces it down to 1/1 and then puts the counters on it. But if you're putting it onto one of your enchanted whatever, onto one of your artifact creatures, then you equip it, do those +1/+1 counters, you know, translate to the thing that it's being equipped onto? I'm not entirely sure. Like, this looks like a really interesting card, though. I'm quite excited to test it out and dump a bunch of mana into it, and you just put it on a 1/1 anyway. something that was already a 1/1 or a 2/2, and then it just doesn't matter. But interesting. Next up, another vehicle. So lots more vehicles. For the first time in a while, we're getting a lot of vehicles in the set, and I wonder if it's looking like an Azorius vehicles deck is going to be any good, but I'm so keen to try. Prodigy's Prototype. 3/4 for 3. 1 colorless and Azorius colors. For an artifact vehicle. Whenever one or more vehicles you control attack, create a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with. This creature crews vehicles as though its power were 2 greater. So you can crew 3 with the thing that it poops out. Little pilot guy. Cool. Cool. And it's not even just like, you know, it doesn't have to be this vehicle. It's whenever one or more vehicles you control. So that's pretty cool. We'll have to see again, like once more pieces get spoiled. Starting tomorrow, you know, the rumor mill grinds up again Monday morning. The spoilers are going to start coming in thick and fast again. So don't forget to tune in for that. But next up, we've got Historian's Wisdom. 3 mana, 2 colorless and a green for an enchantment aura. Again, enchant artifact or creature. When Historian's Wisdom enters the battlefield, if enchanted permanent is a creature with the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield, then you draw a card. So sweet little upside. And then as long as enchanted permanent is a creature, it gets +2/+1. I'm guessing it's saying that, like, as long as it is a creature, it's like, because, okay, that's really cool. You can, like, okay, bear with me. Because of how these things work, you can equip it, reconfigure it onto a creature that you want to be attacking with this turn. It gives the buffs that it has as an equipment to the creature. Probably not, in this case, what the aura does in this aura here. I don't think those +1/+1 counters are going to translate to your creature. Well, I guess in Lion Sash case it would. But, okay, bad example, but again, bear with me one moment. You attack. Then, in your second main phase, you reconfigure. You unequip the equipment. It now becomes a creature again, and you have a blocker. Once it's become a creature again, suddenly the auras that it had on it affected again as a creature. So they won't get unequipped. They won't go to the graveyard if you've put an aura on it when you've transformed it into an equipment. But they'll only take effect on it when it's a creature, not when it's an equipment. I hope that makes sense. And that's going to be really, really cool, specifically in that example, like Awakened Awareness and Lion Sash. What a combo. Like, you put all those +1/+1 counters on Lion Sash. It's anyway a 1/1. Whenever you equip it to something, it is giving all those +1/+1 counters to the thing you equip it with, and then you pay the reconfigure cost of 2, which is nothing, after you attack, unequip it. It doesn't unequip tapped as well. It stays untapped, and then it'll still have Awakened Awareness on it and still be freaking huge. That's nice. Definitely going to try that on day 1. Next up, we've got some commons. Guardians of Oboro. Moonfolk Samurais. There's a bunch of these. Gonna try some tribal stuff for sure. This samurai deck looks amazing. Defender 3/4. Modified creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have Defender. Not bad. Not bad. Because it's pretty beefy. It's a beefy little blocker. I like that. For a common. Definitely gonna try some rounds of draft as well. Then we've got Sunblade Samurai. 5 mana, 4 colorless and a white. For a 4/4 with Vigilance that has Channel 2. Discard Sunblade Samurai, search your library for a basic plains card, reveal it, put it into your library, into your hand, then shuffle, you gain 2 life. Hey, that's not terrible. That's not terrible at all for 2 mana. It's like, you know, you keep a couple of these in your deck if you're playing white. Maybe you need a 4/4 at some point in late game, like with Vigilance, not bad, but most of the time you're probably just channeling it. You get to ramp and you gain 2 life. That's nice. And you get a little shuffle action. Hey, well, might end up seeing some play, but probably just a little bit too expensive. Heiko Yamazaki, the general. A 3/3 with trample. 3 colorless and a red. Whenever a samurai or a warrior you control, so there's going to be this kind of overlap. It's one of these tribes that they join together. The other one is rogues and ninjas, you know, from Marrow's teaser blog post. The other one is looking like samurai and warriors are kind of getting the same treatment. But whenever they attack alone, you may cast a target artifact card from your graveyard this turn. Wow. Wow. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Circuit Mender. Last but not least for today. We'll do one last little refresh before we pop out of this video, but it's looking like Circuit Mender is the last one for today. It's a 3-mana 2/3. Artifact, creature, insect. When Circuit Mender enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. When Circuit Menders leave the battlefield, you draw a card. That is really, really nice. That is a really nice card. I think you'll be surprised. I'm reminded. Oh, there was that card. I think it was an M21. It's like artifact. It was like a 4/4 for 4 mana. And when it enters the battlefield, you drew a card or something. And when it died, you. Oh no, when it enters the battlefield, you gained life. And when it. Oh no, I think it was both draw a card when it entered and when it left, but very similar. I think this might actually see some play, like a little bit of a glue card, getting you to turn, 3 and 4. Sorry, getting you to turn 4 and 5. All right, one last little refresh. Nothing new. So head over to Magic Spoiler. Always checking both sites all day. Oh, these are the different arts. Nice. I prefer this stuff, to be honest. Like, some of these anime ones are pretty cool, but this is just does it for me. Look how sweet those kimonos are. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will be seeing you all tomorrow with some fresh brews and some more spoiler content. And until then, this is Lone Fox from the Brew-Lab signing out. Peace.